Hey, welcome to episode 1 of the brand new series, Topical English Vocabulary with Teacher Tiffani. That's right, me. I am excited about this series because I know the importance of English vocabulary. Now, I want you each and every day to improve your English vocabulary. So, I've actually started a free email newsletter. You heard me right, a free email newsletter. And in that newsletter, every day from Sunday to Friday, I will send you 5 vocabulary words. But these are not just random vocabulary words. No, the vocabulary words are connected to a topic. So every day, you're going to be learning 5 new words connected to a specific topic. This is how your English is going to improve. So when you get into certain conversations, you'll know how to access the database in your brain connected to certain topics. So if you want to get this free email newsletter, you heard me right. It's free email newsletter. All you have to do is go to dailyenglishvocabulary.com. And what you'll find is that every day you'll be improving. Now on Fridays, I'll be actually doing this video podcast for those watching on YouTube, but those listening, you'll also get this on Fridays. I will go over the Friday lesson for the week and we'll look at that day's topic and the 5 vocabulary words. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to your English transforming in 2024. Trust me, if you follow me, if you trust me as your teacher, I'm going to take you on this English journey and get you to where you're trying to go. So are you ready for episode 1? Well then, my friend, let's jump right in. All right, so our topic for today, the topic is culture. And I'm going to teach you 5 English vocabulary words related to culture. Now, the reason why I chose the topic of culture is because it's a topic that is very important and connected to you and to me. We are from different countries. We have different backgrounds. So you, as an English learner, are going to get into conversations with other native English speakers or other English learners about culture. Why? Because we're all different and there's such beauty in differences. So I want to make sure you are prepared for these upcoming conversations. So our topic once again for today is culture. And the very first word that I want to teach you is diversity. Good. Yes, I want you to repeat after me, even if you're listening, and also especially if you're watching and can see my mouth. After me once again, diversity. Excellent. Now, this word diversity, it just means the state or quality of being different or varied. Once again, the state or quality of being different or varied. Basically, we have different backgrounds. We look different. We may sound different. This is what diversity looks like. Different and varied. All right. So this is something that when you're speaking about culture will naturally come up. Many companies want to focus on diversity. They want to make sure their employees are not just, for example, white Americans or Asian Americans or even Black Americans, African Americans. They want to make sure there is diversity in the workplace. So let's check out some example sentences. Here we go. The very first one is, the city is known for its cultural diversity because people from all over the world live together. It makes sense, right? And again, if you have the email, you can follow along as you're looking at the email, okay? The second example sentence for this vocabulary word is, the company values diversity and promotes inclusivity in the workplace. Now, this example sentence is very similar to what I explained earlier. Not having just Asian Americans or just white Americans or just African Americans. You want diversity in the workplace. And finally, example sentence number 3. The festival showcased the diversity of music from different cultures. Makes sense, right? Now, this word again, I want you, the purpose of these daily lessons, if you're receiving the emails, is to help you understand how to use these words based on a topic in real life. So I want you to try to use the word, all right? So word number 1, once again, is diversity. All right, let's move on to the second word. Again, connecting to the topic of culture. The second word is tradition. Good. Again, after me, tradition. Excellent. Now, this term tradition, it literally just means a belief, custom, or way of doing something that has been passed down from generation to generation. Once again, a belief, a custom, or way of doing something that has been passed down from generation to generation. It's just something that's common. My mom, my dad, their mom, their dad, and even further back, everyone has done it the same way. It's tradition. For example, some people say in the South, the southern part of America, right? There are many Christians living in the southern part of America. They are Christians. Their grandparents were Christians. Their great-grandparents were Christians. Their great-great-grandparents were Christians. So it's tradition for them to go to church. You see how that works, right? Tradition, something that's always been done a certain way, or a belief that someone has. So check out these example sentences. Here we go. Sentence number 1. They decided to follow the wedding traditions of their culture. They decided to follow the wedding traditions of their culture. Something that's very interesting is in the African American culture, a new tradition, interestingly enough, saying new and tradition, but it used to be done years ago. Many of the slaves used to do this, but jumping the broom. And many African Americans now, when they get married, they actually jump the broom. I'll probably do the same thing when I get married in the future. But jumping the broom is a tradition for African Americans, right? Maybe in your culture, you also have a tradition, a wedding tradition that you follow, right? Next sentence. The family gathers every year to celebrate Christmas following their tradition. They have a tradition. Hey, every Christmas we come together. Hey, we open gifts, we eat food, we spend time together. It's our Christmas tradition. Make sense? All right, here we go. The third sentence. My country has many traditions related to food. Again, my country has many traditions related to food. You got it? Excellent. So the second word related to the topic of culture that we're learning today is tradition. Now, I want us to move to the third word. Again, we're talking about this topic of culture, and we're learning 5 English vocabulary words to help you speak English fluently and with confidence about this topic. The third vocabulary word I want to teach you today is etiquette. Good. Again, etiquette. Excellent. Now, I'm going to say it again because as native English speakers, as an American, when we say this word quickly, it sounds like this. Etiquette. Sounds a little bit different, right? So it kind of rolls off of our tongue and the T kind of sounds like a D. So one more time after me, saying it at the normal pace. Etiquette. Excellent. All right. So what does this word actually mean? It means the customary code of polite behavior in a society or among members of a particular profession or group. In other words, it's the behavior that is accepted as polite, as kind, as the proper way to act in a situation, right? For example, when you come into someone's home, when I was in South Korea, right? When I went into someone's home, proper etiquette was for me to, you guessed it, take off my shoes. That was a behavior that was seen as polite, as proper in Korean culture. So I lived there for about 10 years. So I learned, okay, proper etiquette when I am going into someone's home is for me to take off my shoes. Remember, we're speaking about culture. Now, when you speak about this topic of culture, you'll remember the word, Tiffani taught me the word etiquette. All right? So, makes sense, right? Let's go to the first example sentence. Here we go. Wouldn't you know it, South Korea is coming up. Here we go. It's important to be familiar with the cultural etiquette when visiting South Korea. This is so true. It's important to understand cultural etiquette. Number 2, In business meetings, knowing the proper etiquette is imperative to making a good impression. And finally, number 3, the etiquette of dining varies across cultures. So it's important to be aware of the most important local customs. Make sense? Excellent. All right. So again, the third word that we have learned about this topic of culture is etiquette. Number 1, first we learned diversity. Number 2, we learned tradition. And number 3, we learned etiquette. Now it's time for us to go to the fourth vocabulary word related to the topic of culture. The fourth vocabulary word is assimilation. Good. Again, after me. Assimilation. Excellent. Now, this is a longer word, but it's a word that I need for you to understand, know, and also be able to use when the topic of culture comes up. Assimilation. This word literally just refers to the process of integrating or blending into a different culture or society. One more time. The process of integrating or blending into a different culture or society. Now, why is this so important? Remember, I mentioned that I lived in South Korea for about 10 years. Korean culture is completely opposite of American culture. But since I lived there, I had to adapt. I had to be integrated. I had to blend because I had to live with Koreans. Taking my shoes off when I enter a home. I had to learn that etiquette. And ironically, I still do that now. Even though I'm back in America, I don't wear shoes in my home. Second, I had to understand when I greeted someone, it wasn't a handshake, it was a bow. I had to assimilate. I had to blend, integrate into their culture. This action, this is called assimilation. All right, that's the noun, assimilation. Makes sense? Excellent. All right, here are the example sentences. We learned assimilation before we traveled abroad. We learned assimilation before we traveled abroad. The second sentence. The school promotes cultural assimilation by encouraging students from different backgrounds to interact. And finally, the third example sentence. Assimilation should not mean losing one's cultural identity, but rather embracing new experiences and customs. I like that one. I'm going to say this one more time. Assimilation should not mean losing one's cultural identity, but rather embracing new experiences and customs. Make sense? Excellent. All right. So again, we're learning words, English vocabulary words connected to the topic of culture. So far, we've learned 4 words. Number 1, yes, diversity. Number 2, excellent, tradition. Number 3, good pronunciation, etiquette. And number 4, yes, assimilation. Excellent job. Now let's move on to number 5. Number 5, our 5th word about this topic of culture is heritage. Good. Again, heritage. Excellent. Now, this term heritage, it literally just means the traditions, achievements, or properties that are passed down through generations. Once again, the traditions, our Christmas tradition, our food tradition, our wedding traditions, achievements. We work hard, we build companies. Or properties, right? Homes, business, buildings that are passed down through generations. We call this a heritage, right? Remember, I'm a Christian, and in reading certain Bible stories, right? Abraham passing down certain things to his children. This is your heritage. I'm giving you all the land, all the animals that I've acquired over my lifetime. I'm giving it to you, his son, right? The heritage he gave to his son. In English, we say heritage. Make sense? Excellent. Here are the 3 example sentences. The country is proud of its cultural heritage, which includes ancient monuments. For example, Egyptians, you have the pyramids, absolutely amazing, right? That is part of your heritage as an Egyptian, okay? Next, the museum showcases the fascinating heritage of the indigenous people. And finally, it's vital to preserve our cultural heritage for future generations. You got it? Excellent. So again, the fifth word that we learned today related to the topic of culture is heritage. Great job. So again, 5 words. Don't go anywhere because I'm going to give you a paragraph. I'm going to read a short paragraph that includes each of these words to help you see how they're used in real life. So once again, the 5 words we have learned about this topic of culture. Number 1, diversity. Number 2, tradition. Number 3, etiquette. Number 4, assimilation. And number 5, heritage. Excellent. So now what I want to do is I want to read a paragraph to you using these 5 vocabulary words that you now understand the meaning of. You understand how they're connected to the topic of culture. Listen very closely to this paragraph. Here we go. Culture is an amazing tapestry that weaves together the diverse fabric of our society. As Americans, we hold dear the traditions that have been passed down through generations, shaping our collective identity. Etiquette, the customary code of behavior, provides a framework for our daily interactions. Through assimilation, we embrace new experiences and customs while staying rooted in our cultural heritage. Our shared history and accomplishments serve as a testament to our resilience. By celebrating and preserving our cultural diversity, traditions, etiquette, assimilation, and heritage, we pave the way for a more inclusive and harmonious future. Now, if I might say so myself, that was an amazing paragraph. But would you also notice that when you heard the words that we learned today, you understood what they mean? You understood what they meant in the context of this paragraph. This is what can happen for you every single day. So again, when you learn vocabulary based on a topic, it'll be easier for you to remember it, to retain it, and also use it in real life. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Again, if you want to learn every single day, don't forget to check out dailyenglishvocabulary.com, www.dailyenglishvocabulary.com. Start getting the daily email newsletter Sunday to Friday and improve your English vocabulary every single day. I'll talk to you next time.